A disability is something that has a major impact on your life.
Every disability is different.
And it's never the same thing for two people. I am blind in my right eye totally, and partially sighted in my left eye.
I was 18 years old. We were traveling way too fast on a gravel road. Broke my neck, my back.
My Asperger's syndrome and my cerebral palsy.
I have anxiety and depression. People would have no idea just talking to me.
Being independent means different things to different people.
I want to live in my own house. I want to pay my own bills.
Live independently and not rely on other people.
When someone is not able to live as independently as they can, it does have a detrimental effect on people's physical and mental well-being.
It's no complicated thing. It's just that people with disabilities want to be included.
Plenty of people get stuck in ruts when they feel like they can't overcome something in their life. That's where Lyft comes in.
Living independently for today and tomorrow. Lyft. We help people of all ages and all types of disabilities find the resources or acquire the skills to live as independently as possible.
We serve the southeastern 18 counties here at the Billings office. We have a variety of things that we offer. We can help with grant funding for adaptive equipment.
Maybe a home modification so they're able to access their home. We help people to find that funding.
Helping people apply for Social Security benefits.
Medicaid, Medicare, housing.
They have a peer support group. Peer support, I think, is key.
Sharing life experiences is one of the most powerful things to help people who might be new to disability, who might be struggling with their disability.
Youth transitions is kids that are transitioning out of high school. They need to learn those adulting skills. It might be rent an apartment, learn how to grocery shop, budgeting.
Help someone advocate for themselves in a school or an employment setting. One of our biggest strengths is providing folks with information and referral. If we can't help you, we hope to know who can.
A lot of times we'll have a potential consumer call in and they think that they just have one need, and it turns out that we end up finding 3 or 4 things we can actually do for them.
You can just come in and say, hey, I feel like I have this going on. Can you help me? And we can, which is so cool to me. I love that.
Most of us on staff at Lyft have identified ourselves as having one or more disabilities. That is helpful in many cases.
It's easier to empathize with someone when you yourself have struggled with a disability.
This is what we specialize in. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
And it costs nothing to go to Lyft. It's a nonprofit organization and they're there to help.
Somebody that was a consumer that was working with Lyft was asked to do an art project. He visualized that the balloon helps to lift people up. And then it became the logo, and it's stuck.
There's been success on all kinds of levels.
It's really rewarding to have a consumer go, hey, I was able to do this by myself today.
We want people to live their best life as independent as possible.
Live as everyone else in society and live as a part of society, not apart from society.
Everybody needs help. Sometimes you just need a little more help, and that's okay. That's absolutely okay.
There's plenty of life to live still, and there's a way you can do it. Keep chipping away at it, little by little by little.
Knowledge is power. Let's share it, for crying out loud.
Send us an email, give us a call. We'll do our best to help.
We can definitely help figure out what your needs are and get started on that. We're one of many steps in the path to independence, and we're happy to be serving people here in the community.
Good day and welcome to Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow. LIFT, L-I-F-T-T, as we often style ourselves. LIFT is a center for independent living, meaning we are a nonprofit center for advocacy and resources and programming for people with disabilities seeking to live as independently as possible within their homes and communities. For more information about LIFT, please visit our website at lift.org or give us a call in Billings at 406-294-51 or 406-259-5181 or 406-948-8500 in Glendive. My name is Jed Barton, and it is my privilege to be a public relations specialist at LIFT and hosting today's program. Today we're going to talk about a topic that we've addressed at times before, but and that's neurodiversity, and specifically we're going to talk about a new program from Montana State University Billings, the Institute for Neurodiversity, called Neurodiversity Safe Spaces of Montana. And joining us to talk about the program is one of the creators, one of the creators of the program, yeah. A member of the MSU Billings community, Reverend Dwight Welch of United Campus Ministry at MSU Billings, and also a instructor in the Department of Philosophy, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So my primary work obviously is in terms of being a campus minister, but one of the things that UCM started was in the fall of 18, which is actually probably how we're best known for now on campus, is our autism support club. It's not so much even a support, it's more of a autism social gathering time. Mm-hmm. And every Friday for the last 8 years we've been meeting and eating pizza and playing games, watching movies. And sometimes we do have educational events. We'll bring in speakers and either to the campus or for our meetings. Mm-hmm. And that's been a real source of support, not only in terms of developing social skills, finding community, which we know is really important in terms of being able to graduate from college, but it kind of has been some of the underpinnings of thinking about, can we expand what we do in person here at MSUB and expand it to the wider community, and in particular in Eastern Montana, where those kind of support groups are going to be more limited. And in particular, because our autism club is made of undergraduate students primarily, it's kind of young adults. The children who have autism become adults. That's what we want. They want to become adults and someday elderly autistic people. But the point is, often when you graduate high school, some of those sorts of support systems go away. And so we're trying to duplicate some of that at the MSUB campus. And then, yeah, there's I'll just go on a little bit just about the program. What happened was wanting to see, at least in any case, that some of that logic behind that program could be expanded. Some social, but also some learning skills, and just commiserating with other young adults on the spectrum. We actually have two groups. One is for young adults, and then one is for parents and caregivers for anybody east of Billings. So it's been an experiment we started this fall, and but yeah.
And how's it been going so far?
It's been going good. I would say our adult group is probably that was the larger group.
Okay.
And the age range is often they are taking care of children who are in elementary school who are on the spectrum.
Okay.
In some ways, it sounds really odd, but a lot of parents can have anxiety about their children. Will they be able to succeed or thrive in the world? And when so many of the needs are so pressing as a child on any number of fronts. So just as a side note, last fall we had the Neurodiversity Conference on the West that was put on by the Center for Inclusive Education at MSUB. And we had a panel of our autistic college students. And a lot of parents and teachers just almost in tears because they could see we had autistic students at college, and they were obviously have struggles, but they were also succeeding and making their mark on the college campus. And so a lot of parents and providers and educators, that becomes really important for them to see what the work they're doing and how that plays itself out into adulthood. So our parent group has been pretty significant for us, but we are recruiting. we would love for more families and caregivers to be a part of it, to broaden kind of the range of experiences people have and the needs and the challenges that they're trying to share with each other. It's hosted by myself on the autism spectrum, so I get to speak out of my personal experience as well as pastoral ministry and working with the autistic college students. And we also have another person, and all of a sudden I'll just blank on her name, who works with the health service at MSUB and who has a clinical professional kind of background. And we kind of feed off of each other, essentially, and obviously, in this case, the parents. So I think for the young adults, it's a very small group. But that group is very dedicated. They show up every time. I think that in some ways it's even more of a lifeline.
The righteous remnant, as we would say.
Yeah, the righteous remnant, yes. And now that my brain started working again, it's Kelsey Osman, who is works with the health service here and has her own private practice.
The MSU Billings Health Service, yeah.
So Kelsey and I work together for meetings for both the young adults and then the caregivers. But yeah, the young adult group is I think for these students, it's, I say students, but they're just, mainly they're in their 20s, and they look for them, it's kind of almost feels like a lifeline. It becomes really important to be able to connect with other people. It's a social piece.
Right.
Whereas I think for the parents, they're looking for resources and some commiseration. And am I what I experiencing something unique, or is this something that other parents experience? But for the adults, we hope, young adults, we hope we form a community, and because especially, if you're in a small town, you can feel like you're the only one. And you might have been one of the few kids who was noticeable on the neurodiversity spectrum. So we have these two groups, and they meet once a month. So so me and Kelsey work at two meetings a month.
Yeah, the youth and young adult group, it looks like, meets on the first Monday of every month at 6 p.m. and then the parent caregiver group meets on the third Monday of every month at that same hour, 6 to 7. And you use Zoom, or?
We use Zoom.
Okay.
And so we don't advertise the link, but if you express interest or contact us, we can send you the Zoom link.
Okay.
To be part of it.
And we can, and if you reach out to Lyft, we can make that connection with MSU Billings as well. So again, you titled the group Neurodiversity Safe Space of Eastern Montana, and I was wondering if there was a rhyme or reason behind the title? Or?
Oh, sure. So we wanted the term neurodiversity because it's not required for you to be on the autism spectrum to be a part of the group. It is the case that almost everybody that we've been working with are, but
there's a sort of a people think of formal diagnoses and stuff which are not often available or not often sought, or...
Yes. I spent over, well, $800, which was pretty cheap, on my diagnosis because my insurance didn't cover it. And for many autistic adults, the kind of income they may be getting is such that it just would not allow. And if insurance doesn't cover a diagnosis, they're not able to shoulder that cost. And to be honest, autistic self-diagnosis is just accepted as a result. It's just a lot of adults never. When I was a kid, if I could speak to the Secretary of Health and Human Services today, I was not diagnosed as a child with autism because it was a very small set of individuals that could possibly qualify. I was diagnosed with ADHD, which is a pretty expansive category. Could fall under neurodiversity. As there's a lot of what's called comorbidities, is that right? It's like things that travel along with autism.
Co-occurring diagnoses.
Yeah, social anxiety disorder can be one.
Right.
Tourette's, ADHD, OCD.
Right.
They could. So neurodiversity was a way of saying, whether you're diagnosed or you're not. If you're in the, to use a phrase, I don't know, some people may not appreciate, but I kind of do, is a neurospicy.
Okay.
Neurospicy, kind of like, you're in the ballpark. And we actually had a word for that when in the old DSM, which was pervasive developmental disorder, not otherwise specified.
I've heard that.
Yeah, and that's a way of, not every check mark can be, hit.
Right.
But they still need support. The safe space, I think it was trying to communicate the idea of a support group, and all the things that are entitled or entailed by that, including some level of confidentiality within the group. Both Kelsey and I have done Safe Zone training for LGBT inclusion on the campus of MSU Billings. Right. And that word was probably floating in our head.
Fair enough. And again, support group comes with its own connotation of what it means, and this allows for perhaps a more expansive definition of what the group does. Yeah,
I think so. Because often support group can come with it can be connected to like the recovery community, and there's some specific expectations that recovery groups operate under, where I think at our last safe space we talked video games with some of the young adults. It wouldn't quite, so it's not a formal therapy session, or it's just making those connections and then seeing what happens.
Okay. And you talk about leading or using your life experience as a person on the neurodiversity scale. You're also a native of Eastern Montana, right?
Yes.
A graduate of Miles City High School, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Custer County High School. And so you know what it's like to live in those communities and, try and find your place in it.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I would say it's always a tricky thing when I've talked to students on the spectrum, because many of our students also come from Eastern Montana.
Yeah.
It can feel isolating if you don't have certain social skills. If there is a kind of range of interest being expressed in the school system and that. I did feel lucky when I was in high school because there were groups, I was, not to do a stereotype, but I played Dungeons and Dragons in high school, and that was a great way to find community. And we do that on campus too. Our UCM has a D&D group as well, and so I did feel like I had some sources of connection. But because autism in the 80s was not really a category most schools were kind of working with. I knew that I had many school professionals wanting to figure out what I was up to and not sure where to what resources or means. So I had a lot of visits with the counseling office over the years. And of course I took medication for ADHD through Ritalin. But there were other I was talking to my 8th grade English teacher. She's like, I didn't know how you were going to graduate from high school. And I was like, what? I thought I was doing quite well. And I was academically. I think she meant socially. Would I find my way,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it can be difficult. And I think a number of, certainly disability can do that. Being LGBT can do that. Being a religious or racial minority, depending on the community you're involved with, can set you apart in some of the communities. So,
right. So again, for those of you just joining us, we're talking about a new program under the auspices of Montana State University Billings called Neurodiversity Safe Space of Eastern Montana. They have a group, they meet via Zoom, young adults and youth ages 14 to 27 the first Monday of each month, and caregivers and parents the third Monday of each month.
And I was going to say, because people might be wondering about, I'm just throwing this out, it kind of came together through the Center for Inclusive Education, but also the Institute for Neurodiversity, because when the press came out originally and that institution was formed, it was primarily focused on developing some sort of supports and therapies for children.
Right.
And when the director left, that never really took hold. And as a result, there were conversations at MSUB, how can we keep faith with the spirit or the idea of what that institute was about? And looking through some of the information in terms of the grants and other things, realized that the education piece, like the Neurodiversity Conference held at MSUB last fall, the support groups, that these are all components that kind of fulfill in a broader way the mission. So this is the way in which the Institute is kind of being, its sources, its funding, as well as the auspices that created it, is being realized. And the idea is hopefully to build relations as well as support groups and things like that throughout, especially Eastern Montana. So, and some of that is using some of the space that had been used for clinical kind of programming and broaden it to build maybe like a neurodiverse lounge for students, and perhaps for the community. So there's conversations around using that space so that people in the wider
space on campus.
Yeah, it's in the basement of the College of Education.
Okay, I know where the Institute for Inclusive Education is, because it used to be the Montana Center on Disabilities at one time.
Yes.
And
that's...
You'll find a number of, if they still have the plaques up for the Disability Advocate of the Year or something, and around there are a number of people from across Montana involved in the independent living centers who won that award over the years. Oh,
really? Okay. I was they have a new director of the Center for Inclusive Education, and I'm meeting with her, I think next week. And there is a history that there has been some organization through the university to relate to special needs and disabled students that I think goes back to the 1940s.
Yeah, it does. And that was part of the history exhibit that the Western Heritage Center had on disability over last program year.
Oh, wow. Well, and there is, because MSU Billings is going to be celebrating our 100th anniversary in 1920, or 2 years?
Yeah, 2027, I believe.
27 next year?
Yeah.
They're putting together, some professors are working together on a kind of a revised, updated history of the university, including the kind of the disability programs. So I'm excited to see what kind of comes out of that.
Again, when the university turned 75, Sue Hart wrote a history of the university.
Yes, I have that book.
Yeah, so that makes sense that another 25 years of history. So we got a few minutes left here.
Oh, sure.
Talk a little bit more about, again, the
Oh, sure.
what it, yeah.
Well, I mean, so we've been talking about the Zoom support group. If you know anybody, children, grandchildren, young adults are 14 to 24 for our Zoom group, and then the parent caregiver group is anybody who's kind of helping support somebody on the spectrum. I will say sometimes too, so it has been known that parents themselves may find themselves to be on the neurodiverse spectrum as well. So it kind of does double duty. Sometimes I'll be asked about the Autism Club and what resources exist in Billings, and of course I obviously recommend Lyft for that as well. We know there's a need for community in Billings, and like I said, our program for the MSUB students has been a really important source of community. But we hope that this is the start of this will go beyond a Zoom group, and that we'll be developing more resources, because we know there's a lot of adults, and not even terribly young adults, who are on the spectrum, who may not have friendships, may not have those social needs met that we all need to have met. And so if you have questions or ideas or want to reach out about what that could look like, feel free to contact me or contact Lyft.
And Dwight, maybe you can provide a contact email or phone number?
Sure. Welch at msubillings.edu, and phone number is 406-647-2567. That's 647-2567. Or otherwise, call Lyft, because you guys have my information.
Yep. We certainly do. Well, again, Dwight, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to hearing more about this program as it grows and it evolves over the coming months and years. This has been Living Well in Montana. Living Well in Montana is a program of living independently for today and tomorrow. Lyft. For more information about Lyft, please visit our website at liftt.org, or give us a call in Billings at 259-5181, or at our office in Glendive at 948-8500. Thank you and good day.
Thank you. Appreciate this.